The story today begins in a high school with students from all over Korea, and honestly, their financial situations seem pretty good. Let's not make it too ordinary, let's be a bit creative. It's the start of the school term when suddenly a girl named Jin arrives and everyone goes crazy. Not only that, she's famous, and everyone wants to get to know her. People are amazed by her looks, her elegance, and her style. They keep staring at her from afar, to the point that even the girls try to get her attention and tease her, but she stands out completely. This is Jin. Our heroine feels happy about the compliments, but shyly just gestures to them, saying hello to every student she meets along the way. It's clear that she's humble and likes everyone. Dear viewers, brace yourselves for the shock. This is our heroine, but she was living in a dream, thinking she was adored by the crowd. We see her going up the stairs when a student accidentally bumps into her without realizing it. She snaps out of the fantasy she was living in, and we learn that she is actually an outcast. She has no friends and no one even knows her name. She spends her time on her phone, managing a movies room channel, liking posts carefully, and making sure all notifications are on. But dear viewer, she still isn't popular. She has no real followers. The student who bumped into her doesn't even know she's in the same class. Jin feels embarrassed, apologizes, and walks away. We learn that she's just an ordinary girl, but she wants to be social and liked. She just doesn't know how. She enters her classroom, and we find out that all students use a special school app to communicate with each other. Everyone in school posts everything that happens during their day, but our girl is the only one without followers, because no one knows her. She sits talking to the wall out of boredom and emptiness, but she doesn't give up. She keeps trying to be social and opens the app, attempting to post anything so her classmate would notice her. Unfortunately, no one pays attention. She gets frustrated and yells loudly, feeling embarrassed and afraid that she might have disturbed the student next to her. She apologizes, saying, "I'm sorry if my voice was loud." But he's surprised because he didn't even notice she was sitting next to him. She feels upset and embarrassed, thinking to herself, "If I were a treasure chest, they'd have drunk me. If I were a board, they'd have seen me. If I were a piece of paper, they'd have torn me. But no one values me or pays attention to me. Why?" But here, in the movies room, we were able to do everything she ever wanted. Feeling bored and lonely, she can watch freely anytime under the blanket in the cold weather. Anyway, let's go back to school. The class president goes up to the board and talks to the students, explaining their schedule. She tells them that they've added more sports classes, and all the students are happy with what she did, thanking her and cheering for her, shouting her name because they're proud of her. Jin sits among them, feeling invisible, as no one notices her, wishing she could be as popular as the class president. Suddenly, a handsome student named Hwang enters the classroom. We learn that he is the most famous student in school, training to become a well-known actor. Everyone is impressed by his looks, and he's well-loved, called the pride of their class for raising their reputation in school. Jin feels jealous, wishing she could be like him so she could have many friends to talk to. She feels lonely and unnoticed. At the end of the day, she leaves school and calls her mother to ask what they had for lunch. She finds out they went out to eat at a restaurant without her, realizing that even her own family doesn't take her into account. Jin gets upset and thinks, "Isn't he your child? Didn't you see me in front of the mosque? Let me know so I can look for my real family instead of exhausting myself with them." Her mother apologizes for forgetting and promises to make it up to her next time, closing the line abruptly. Jin feels frustrated and tells herself, "Am I invisible?" She hasn't even finished speaking when suddenly a student bumps into her while running. Our heroine gets angry, realizing she really is invisible, and walks away crying. But the student who bumped into her keeps staring at her. Jin sits in her room, feeling bored, with nothing to do because she has no friends to talk to. She decides to reach out to other outcasts who also have no one to talk to, just like her. She logs in under a fake name, pretending someone knows her, and starts talking to the marginalized students who complain that no one respects their lives or even notices they exist. She finds that they are just like her, each one sharing the struggles they face in their own lives. Jin feels happy because she realizes she's not alone. She thinks, "Seeing other people's troubles makes my own feel lighter." She goes to sleep feeling content, knowing she is better off than some others. The next day at school, They have a sports class, and all the students head to the field. Jin leaves last from the classroom, but suddenly Huang stops her and calls her over. She pretends to be casual, thinking to herself, "Am I dreaming or is this real? He's the first person in the world to notice me." She knows he forgot his phone at home and wants to make a call from hers. She's excited and hands him her phone, saying, "Go ahead, use it however you want." She watches him as he sits in front of her, mesmerized by his handsomeness, feeling like he's glowing. She covers her eyes with her hand, and just as she's about to tell him her name, she gets shy, feeling awkward, and apologizes. He laughs at her reaction, returns the phone, and thanks her for helping him. He asks her to go to the field because he's going to follow her after using the bathroom. Jin goes to the field and, as usual, sits alone watching the students play together and have fun. She feels sad and lonely. She overhears a group of girls talking about Huang, looking at his pictures, saying how kind and handsome he is. She remembers when he talked to her and said thanks, and her heart beats 3 times faster. She wonders, what if he said he loves me? Would I have a heart attack? She's already smitten from their first interaction. She continues listening to the girls as they talk about one of them having a nice blush, asking her to let her use it when they return to class. Later, sports class ends, and all the students go back to the classroom. Jin changes her clothes alone and returns, only to find the students waiting for her. She realizes her classmate can't find her blush and asks if she's seen it, since Jin was the last one to leave the classroom. Jin freezes, not knowing how to respond. Not out of fear, but because she's not social. She goes back but bumps into Huang as he's entering. He defends her, and they realize that she was the last one to leave the classroom and had helped him with something. There's no way it could have been her who took it. In the end, he manages to find the lipstick under the chair, returns it to the student, and asks her to apologize to Jin because she wronged her. She does so, and Jin is happy that her innocence is proven. She admires him even more and tells herself that he must like her. When she sits in her place, he comes over to check on her, asking if she's upset. She thanks him and reassures him that she's fine, but Huang mispronounces her name. She feels heartbroken because even the boy she admires doesn't really know her. After school, she walks down the street feeling upset, thinking about what happened, wishing she were famous. She sits at the bus stop and suddenly finds a strange-looking phone next to her. She picks it up surprised and sees the school app on it. She realizes it belongs to a student, but can't see anyone around. She decides to keep it until she finds out who it belongs to. She goes home and tries using it at night. She opens the school app on it and notices that it's different from hers, with features she doesn't have. It allows her to learn lots of information about anyone she wants. She feels happy and lucky, and keeps using it to become more social and have many friends. The next day, we see Huang going to his acting academy. He's still training to achieve his dream and become a famous star. Girls watch him, mesmerized by his looks, and share his photos everywhere, which makes him even more famous. Everyone talks about him, calling him lucky because he will become a famous actor. He goes to class, and the teacher announces that he scored the highest on the exam and came first, prompting all the students to applaud him. Yet Huang feels bored with his life because everything he wants is easily available. He wants to feel the struggle to achieve his goals. Meanwhile, Jin arrives at school and keeps using the phone she found, trying to get to know the students. She sees 2 girls sending messages on the app about a singer they like and wanting to attend his concert. She takes the opportunity to approach them, telling them she likes the singer too. They're surprised and get to know her, deciding to become close friends so they can go to the concert together. Jin is happy that her plan worked and continues using the phone to change her life, become social, and gain popularity. However, the good things don't last. One of the girls asks her if she knows the singer's birthday. Jin doesn't know how to answer, and the girl thinks she's lying. She takes her friend and leaves, making Jin feel embarrassed. She enters the classroom feeling discouraged, but she doesn't give up. She tries again. She sees a student posting on the app that he wants to buy headphones. She seizes the opportunity and goes to talk to him, foolishly saying, "I know you want to buy headphones," and recommends a good brand. The student is surprised and asks how she knew. Jin realizes what she did and understands that she acted foolishly, feeling unsure of what to do next, running through her thoughts. She explains, "I see you always sitting without headphones, so I thought you might need one." But but she wishes she hadn't overthought it. The student feels insulted, thinking she's mocking him because he's poor, and he gets upset, leaving the classroom. Jin tries to explain that she didn't mean it, and attempts to apologize, but he doesn't listen. She regrets it, and decides to think before speaking next time. The teacher enters the classroom and announces that a new student will join them. The student arrives and introduces himself as John. Everyone likes him at first sight because he's kind and good-looking, just like Huang. The teacher asks him to sit behind Jin. After class, a student talks to him, introducing him to the other classmates, and explains that the class president is a famous female YouTuber. She seems strict, but is loved by everyone, dear viewers. Meanwhile, Huang begins to get to know John, realizing that they are now the two most popular students in school. John isn't interested in anyone. His focus is Jin, who captured his heart the first time he saw her. He keeps looking at her and paying attention to her, but she leaves the classroom, thinking about how to approach him and how to use her mind instead of the phone. She wants to be popular and have many friends. She hears students talking about someone from school posting a video of him on the app. At the time, he was singing on stage, but his voice was bad and his face was not visible. The video was deleted, and no one knew who he was. She wishes they would know his identity. Jin seizes the opportunity and uses the phone to find out who he is. John tries to approach her to get to know her, but she leaves the classroom. Later, they have sports class, and students go to the field. Huang finds a message in his bag asking him to go to the stage. He's surprised, but goes to see who left the message, only to find Jin there. He asks her what she wants, but she uses the phone to see the video he posted on the app before deleting it, realizing that he was the one singing. She confronts him about what she discovered. John is shocked. He is an aspiring actor, and if anyone knew his voice was bad, his future could be ruined. He puts his hand over her mouth so no one can hear, but she reassures him that she will keep his secret. He thinks she only wants money and asks how much. He promises to give her anything she wants, but she lets him know that she doesn't want any money. She just wants to be social and for people to notice her, nothing more. That's why she tells him, "I want you to be with me." Huang is surprised. She explains, "I want you to admit that you like me in front of the students. Then everyone will notice me, I'll be famous, nothing more. I'll be social and have many friends. After that we can separate, and each of us can go our own way." Huang is shocked by her words and asks why she wants to be famous to that extent. She tells him, "I've always been an outcast and lonely. I want to be popular like you, to have many friends to talk to." She begs him to help her achieve her dream. Huang is confused and doesn't know how to answer her. He leaves and returns to class, thinking about what she said. The class president sees him and notices he's not acting like himself. She asks him what's wrong, but Jin follows him and asks to speak with him. Huang is afraid she'll expose him in front of the students, so he takes her outside to talk. The class president is surprised by their relationship. John sees them together and thinks they're a couple, feeling jealous. Our protagonists find the classroom empty. Jin tells him, "This will be our secret place. We'll meet and talk here without any student seeing or hearing us." Huang is surprised and asks why she comes to this place. She tells him, "I used to sit here alone because I had no friends." He's affected by her words and starts to empathize with her. He agrees and asks her what exactly she wants him to do. Jin is happy and thanks him, saying, "Don't worry, I planned everything." She goes to the board and begins explaining her plan, asking him to admit that he likes her in front of all the students during the first class. She imagines the plan in her head, picturing Huang kneeling for her in the classroom and asking her to be with him. Then all the students will notice her, and she'll become famous. She daydreams, lost in her fantasy. Huang snaps back and says, "I'll never do such nonsense. Do you think I'm Tamer Hosni? If I do that, I won't be famous. It's better if you post the video yourself. Look, I have a better idea. That way, neither of us will ruin anything." Jin agrees with him and says, "Don't be upset, I have a better plan." She teases herself while watching him on the field. After he finishes playing, he takes water from her, and at that moment, he confesses his feelings to her. She tells him, "You're more important than water and air." Because of this, the students are amazed by their relationship, continue cheering her name, and she becomes famous. Huang gets annoyed and says, "Why do you think all your ideas are like this? None are creative." They all feel like they're from 2005, like in black and white movies. He tells her to leave it to him and acts on his own. Jin is happy, thanks him, and promises to keep his secret. She assures him that she won't tell anyone that his voice is bad, like a frog's voice. He thanks her for keeping the secret and says, "All right then, go home now." At night, she stays up, excited about what will happen tomorrow. She wonders aloud, "I wonder what will happen. Huang surely knows what he's going to do. Good, because he's smart." At the same time, Huang is also awake, thinking about how to handle his feelings without losing his pride. Both of them spend the night rehearsing what they will do tomorrow, each feeling nervous and embarrassed. The next day, the awaited day arrives. Jin wakes up early and goes to school, happy and excited for what's about to happen. She sees students paired up and standing together, thinking to herself, "Just a few more hours and I'll be like you," feeling butterflies freely. She walks along with her eyes closed, accidentally bumping into a student. The phone she found falls to the ground. She panics, fearing it's broken, but when she picks it up, she sees it's fine. She philosophizes a little. John apologizes, and she asks him to forgive her. He notices she's worried about the phone and gets annoyed, saying, "You didn't even check on it? You haven't changed, and your memory is still weak." He leaves, and she wonders if he knows her or if she knows him, watching him walk away. She feels like she's seen him before, but can't remember where. Meanwhile, Huang enters the classroom exhausted because he couldn't sleep, burdened by what he plans to do. The class president sees him alone and goes to talk to him, but he mispronounces her name. Jin is surprised and asks if he's tired. He wants to tell her, but suddenly Jin enters the classroom and keeps looking at him. She signals him to follow the plan, but he can't bring himself to do it. He leaves the classroom. After class, she goes to the field looking for him, sending messages, but he refuses to respond. She gets frustrated, recalling his earlier words. She sees one student running after a friend, trying to spray him with water, but the friend escapes, and the water accidentally splashes her. Huang arrives, stands in front of her, and protects her. The player takes the water instead, and Huang yells at the students, making them apologize to her and also learn her name. Jin is touched by his actions and thanks him for caring. The rest of the class watches what happens. Huang seizes the opportunity, confessing his feelings for her in front of everyone, saying he loves her and wants to be with her. The students are shocked. No one can believe what happened. They take out their phones to capture the moment, but Jin panics, forgetting their plan. She feels embarrassed and runs away, thinking about what just happened. She is confused, realizing that his feelings for her were truly sincere. Suddenly, she meets John on her way and asks if he knows her. He replies, "How would I know you? You haven't changed since childhood, my girl." Jin is surprised, focusing on his face. She starts recalling her childhood memories, remembering how lonely and outcast she used to be because she had no friends. But then, at that moment, the masked knight appeared. John, the only one who truly cared about her and used to play with her. She returns to the present and realizes that he is her friend from long ago, the one who traveled when they were little. She can't believe they've met again. She says to him, "Wow, you've changed since back then, and you've become even more handsome." She tries to get close to him, but almost trips on the stairs. Suddenly, Huang separates them, and at the same time, John grabs her hand. Both of them feel jealous of each other. Jin is surprised by what's happening because no one in the school ever paid attention to her or even knew her name, and now she's famous. The two most handsome boys in the school are both interested in her, each wanting to get close. Huang asks to talk to her, and John lets them be, telling her he's happy they met, then leaves. Jin feels embarrassed and goes with Huang to their secret room where they usually meet. He asks her how she knows John, and she has to explain everything. They learn that he was her friend from long ago, the only one who treated her kindly. But he moved away with his family and she hadn't seen him for 10 years. Now he's back. Huang senses that she's hiding something but reminds her that he will honor their agreement. When Jin opens the app, she sees that students have recorded a video of her with Huang. It spreads everywhere and she becomes famous. Everyone is talking about her. She reacts, unable to believe what happened. Huang, however, is puzzled by her behavior and asks why she left him and walked away. Jin admits, "You surprised me, honestly. It's the first time I've been in this situation. I didn't know how to respond. I'm sorry I ruined the plan." She asks him to stay with her until they break up so that everyone will know her name and she can be social and have friends. but Huang worries about his pride and says, "I honored our agreement. I hope we don't meet again," and walks away. Yet she still threatens him with the video of him singing, and he fears her words. He says, "Come on, I'm joking. I can manage without you," but ends up staying with her to explain how she can be social and interact with people. After she becomes famous, he starts giving her advice, telling her she needs a distinctive personality like the class president to impress people, and asks if she understands what he means. Jin blushes, saying, "Shame on you, I'm smart and I understand," feeling thrilled, and she leaves for class. In class, she sees a girl upset because she got bad grades on exams. Our heroine feels happy and decides to use the opportunity to get closer to her. She pretends to be cheerful to make her laugh, going over to say, "You look upset. You need someone fun in your life to cheer you up." The girl is surprised by her words and pretends she's interfering in her life. Jin feels a bit intrusive, but Huang signals her from afar, calling her over before she messes things up further, sending her to the field to play sports. She decides to try again, seeing the girls playing basketball. She wants to prove her talent so they'll notice her, get to know her, and she can have the best friendship story. She encourages herself, grabs the ball, and prepares to throw it into the hoop, hoping to score a point. Huang watches, wondering if she'll succeed. Unfortunately, luck isn't on our poor heroine's side. As usual, the other students keep mocking and laughing at her. Embarrassed, she walks off the field, but notices someone talking with a classmate. She tries to approach them, but keeps interrupting their conversation to seem mysterious. Because of this, the girl forgets the topic they were discussing. Our heroine feels that nobody likes her. She doesn't know what to do, but Huang arrives just in time and takes her to the secret room. He says, "This is the explanation I gave you, and you understood it perfectly. I want you to be yourself." But it's hard for her. She keeps crying and tells him, "You can never understand me because you're famous, and everyone wants to get close to you. I'm an outcast. No one cares to know me." Huang is moved by her words and feels conflicted. Suddenly he comes closer, and Jin is surprised, thinking he's going to lecture her, but instead, he gives her tissues to wipe her tears. He cries too, showing that he's not happy in his life because he lies and pretends people understand him. They only see that he can sing, but if they knew the truth, they would stay away. Jin empathizes with him, realizing he suffers too. Afterwards, she goes back to class and the class president comes to talk to her. Our heroine is surprised because it's the first time she's trying to talk to her. She learns the president did this because she thought Huang was dating her. The president tells her they're going out together after school to eat at a restaurant and asks if Jin wants to come along. Jin reacts with excitement and happily agrees. She leaves the classroom laughing, and John sees her and goes to talk to her. He asks why she's happy, and she explains that she's excited because it's her first time going out with classmates, since she was always alone. She asks him not to tell anyone about the bullying she suffered as a child, and John reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, your secret is safe with me." After school, he sees her walking with her classmates, runs up to her and says, "How are you, Jin? The outcast, the one the kids used to bully." Jin tells them he's joking, but he starts sharing their memories, explaining how he always protected her. The class president laughs at the story but secretly admires John. She invites him to come to the restaurant with them too, but Huang feels jealous. He says he's busy and has a training session, so he leaves. John becomes suspicious and follows him to watch. That night, he sees Huang passing by the training academy and decides to confront him. He goes up to Huang and says, "I know you're lying." Huang gets nervous, unsure what to do, and recalls a flashback from the first time he went to school. Back then, the students were impressed by his looks and thought he was training at the academy to become a famous actor. Everyone admired him and tried to get close to him. At that time, he became the most popular student in school with many friends, but in reality, he wasn't actually in training. He just loved the feeling of fame. Back in the present, Huang feels scared and asks John how he knew, but John refuses to answer. They argue, and John threatens to reveal the truth to Huang's classmates and orders him to stay away from Jin. Huang gets angry at what he hears, thinking Jin was the one who told him, but then John shows him the video, revealing the truth. Huang is shocked and leaves, while John is surprised because he thought Jin was fooled, but he realizes she already knows the truth and is holding a big secret. Meanwhile, Jin is sitting in the restaurant with her classmates, happy because it's her first time going out with friends. But the class president keeps teasing her, saying, "This must be your first time here, because you don't have friends like us." Jin feels embarrassed by her words, but then one of their classmates receives a call and leaves to answer it. Jin seizes the opportunity, trying to avoid the conversation, but the president keeps questioning her about her relationship with Huang and whether she likes him. Jin freezes, not knowing how to respond. She pretends she's going to the bathroom and leaves the restaurant to think of a proper response. At that moment, she sees her poor classmate standing with a bullying girl who's taking his money and threatening him to obey her, or else her gang of friends will beat him up. Of course, Jin gets angry and decides to intervene. She asks the bully to leave him alone and warns her that she will report her to the school principal. But the bully laughs at her, saying, "I'll forgive you, this time for what you said because I already got what I wanted." She leaves, and Jin goes to check on her classmate, but he gets annoyed and says, "I didn't ask you to help me. Stay away, you're not my friend." He leaves, and Jin feels upset by his words. The next day at school, she tries to talk to him, but he ignores her and refuses to respond. She keeps sending messages to Huang, asking him to meet her in the secret room, but he also sees the messages and doesn't reply. She feels lonely again, just like before. She waits for him in front of the classroom until he arrives and asks him why he doesn't answer her, but he walks past her as if he doesn't see her. Jin is surprised by his behavior, follows him into the classroom, and asks if he's upset with her. He responds coldly, thinking she was the one who revealed John's secret, all while the class president watches, feeling jealous. The president tells her to stay away and stop chasing him because she's not on his level. Jin feels hurt by this and realizes she's back to being isolated again. She sits sadly in her place, but John comes, takes her hand, and leads her out of the classroom. He sees Huang nearby and gets annoyed, thinking something is going on between them. Jin feels confused by their behavior. John then asks her why she's trying to get close to Huang, and she cries, explaining, "I've always been alone and no one wanted to be friends with me. Huang is the only one who treated me well." She becomes upset because she doesn't understand why his attitude toward her has changed. She leaves him and walks away. John is affected by her words, grabs her hand and tells her that she's been deceived by Huang, who is lying to her and to everyone at school because he's not actually training at the academy. Jin believes him and asks him not to tell anyone, confirming to John that she knew the truth from the start. He asks her if she likes Huang, and she tells him that he's honest with her. She promised to keep his secret, but he refuses to talk to her. She doesn't understand what she did wrong that made Huang stop speaking to her. John tells her he knows the reason, and they realize that Huang misunderstood, thinking she had seduced him and revealed his secret. Jin reacts to what John says and runs off to find Huang to explain that he's misunderstood and that she's not at fault, but she can't find him. When she returns home, she tries calling him all night, but he doesn't answer, even turning off his phone. The next day, she hides outside the classroom until she sees him and tries to talk, telling him she's been wronged and that it's a misunderstanding. He tells her he saw her yesterday standing with John and now knows everything. He leaves, and she feels upset. That night, we see the poor classmate walking home, but the bullying girl brings her gang and makes him fight. The thug approaches him laughing, showing that he's dangerous and ready to enforce his orders. Suddenly, he hears a familiar voice. It's Jin holding her phone and recording. The thug gets angry, signaling his men to grab her and take her phone, but Jin is quick and prepared. She uses the phone she found and tells the thug that his bullying girlfriend is cheating on him, showing proof with a video she recorded in the library. To her surprise, the girl is standing with another boy, joking with him, exposing her betrayal. When she sees him, she tells him that the girl is a liar. The bully attacks her, trying to grab her phone and delete the video, but he stops her, confirming that she was lying. He approaches her, furious, his eyes full of anger, ready to hit her. Jin feels guilty, explaining that she's recording him and threatens to report him if he hits her. The bully gets angrier and tries to strike her, and Jin feels terrified, as if she's about to get a severe beating. Luckily, Huang arrives just in time and pulls her away. He starts fighting the bully and his gang. Despite being handsome and cute, Huang fights like a trained ninja and a professional martial artist. He defeats them easily, taking them down one by one, throwing them to the ground, leaving everyone shocked by his strength, realizing he's not an ordinary guy. The bully tries to attack him from behind, but Jin reacts quickly, hitting the bully on the head, causing him to faint. Huang is thrilled with what she did and thanks her, while she uses the opportunity to explain that she's innocent and didn't reveal his secret. Huang believes her and thanks her again, happy that she defended the poor classmate. The two hug briefly to comfort each other. The next day, Jin goes to school and is shocked to find that what she did has spread on the app. Everyone now knows her name, and she's become famous. When she goes to the secret room, she finds Huang waiting for her, apologizing for his mistake and asking for her forgiveness. She tells him she's not upset and thanks him for his advice, explaining that she followed it and is now acting naturally. She holds his hand, asking him to stay by her side and be her friend until she learns to be social. Huang feels embarrassed, noticing for the first time how beautiful she is, and keeps staring at her, clearly falling for her. Just as he's about to respond, John suddenly enters, interrupting the romantic moment. John wants to help her become social, explaining that he knows her best since he was her childhood friend. He writes advice on the board for her to follow to be more social, making Huang feel annoyed and jealous. She asks them not to interfere, saying that he is responsible for her and can help her, but the two boys can't stand each other, each wanting to be the one to talk to her. They keep arguing like children, which frustrates Jin. She angrily tells them to stop, as she doesn't want any problems, and takes them back to class. The students are surprised to see her with the two most handsome boys in school. The class president feels jealous of her, but hides it because she has her own plans. She goes to the board and announces a contest, telling the students that whoever records a video and posts it on the app that gets the most likes will win. When the students hear about the big prize, they all decide to participate, each hoping to win. The class president also wants to join, since she won last year and wants to win again. She feels threatened by Jin, realizing that if Jin wins, she'll become famous. She comes up with the idea to take a video with John and Huang first, since they are the two most attractive boys in school, and the video will surely get lots of likes. After class, she takes them to the secret room and asks them to take photos with her. Huang refuses, saying he can't do it. Jin asks why, and he explains that he is pretending to be a trainee and trainees aren't supposed to appear in videos. John also doesn't want to take part, as he's already famous in school and doesn't need the contest. Jin feels upset and discouraged, but they encourage her to rely on herself and make a video alone. She remembers last year's contest, realizing that she also participated by making videos of herself dancing. Even though she is beautiful and talented, she didn't get a single like. She feels that none of the students have turned on notifications to see her videos, even though they like her. They simply didn't activate the alert. Dear viewers, Jin realizes that her chances of winning alone are slim. She needs to form a team with someone famous, so that the video will get more views and likes. She asks them, "At least help me, any one of you," but they all refuse. She feels upset and discouraged. When she returns to class, she sees that all the students have formed teams and are practicing the video together. Suddenly, she spots the underdog student she helped. She says to him, "You came to me from the sky. There's no one else." Realizing that no one else would notice her, she asks him to make the video with her, but she hears his friend say, "Let's practice first," and realizes he has already formed a team. Feeling hopeless, she decides not to participate in the contest. Suddenly, the class president enters, and Jin makes one last attempt, offering to film a contest video with her. The president is impressed by her courage and says, "We went out together once. Don't think you're my friend. No, you're wrong. But that doesn't stop me from making the video with you." She agrees. Meanwhile, Huang goes to the training academy to pretend he is still training. John notices him there and tries to monitor him, but tells Huang, "You're a troublesome person," asking him to stay away from Jin because he can't help her. Huang refuses and insists on staying with her. At night, Jin keeps watching video tutorials to learn. Suddenly, she gets a call from the class president. "I'm sending you a video to practice. If you succeed in doing it, I'll let you participate in the contest with me." Jin is excited and agrees. The next day, she meets Huang, and they watch the video together. She finds it very difficult. Huang explains that the class president has been skilled since she was young, winning many awards, and Jin must train hard to reach her level. Jin feels confused, as the moves are so hard that even Huang can't do them. She feels frustrated and doesn't know what to do. Suddenly, John enters to help them, but Huang teases him, saying, "You don't even know the basics," and lets him just watch the video, confident that John won't be able to do it. To everyone's surprise, despite having seen the video only once. But he imitates the moves with ease, performing them as if he had been practicing for 2 years. He plays a song and decides to channel Jin's energy into the dance. Inside the small cabin, he starts dancing, executing the moves like a master of folk dance, surprising our heroes with his skill. Jin is amazed by what she sees, unable to believe her eyes, impressed by his talent, and claps for him happily, asking him to teach her. Of course, John agrees and begins training her on the moves so she can memorize them. Later, Jin meets the class president in the theater. The president, not naive at all, had intentionally given Jin difficult moves, knowing she couldn't manage them, constantly mocking her, confident that Jin would fail to execute them quickly. The president's main goal was to embarrass her. Suddenly, John and Huang arrive and ask to watch, wanting to cheer her on. The class president agrees, thinking she can humiliate Jin in front of them. But Jin is prepared. She starts the music, performing the moves John taught her flawlessly. Everyone is impressed by her performance and acknowledges her talent, clapping and cheering her name. The class president grows increasingly jealous and storms into the bathroom to hide. She is furious, remembering Huang's looks, while Jin pretends her plan has failed. The president takes out some pills she had hidden, swallowing them all at once, and suddenly feels weak and dizzy. Jin rushes to check on her, asking if she is okay. The president tells her to stay away, but she can't bear it and collapses to the floor. Jin quickly runs to her, carrying her to the clinic. There, the doctor explains that the pills were slimming pills, taken to maintain her weight and appearance. Jin is affected and tries to talk to her, but finds the president already sitting up, refusing to rest despite being exhausted. She's upset that her secret has been exposed because of Jin and angrily says, "I hate you, I resent you," and leaves. Jin is hurt by her words, but realizes that this isn't the real reason. When she leaves the clinic, she finds Huang waiting for her, and seeing him, she understands everything. She uses the phone she found, opens the app, and discovers that the class president had posted on it, showing that she had liked Huang for a long time and had decided to confess her feelings, even leaving him a gift. But on that day, Huang executed his plan. He confessed to Jin that he liked her. The president saw what happened, her heart broke, and she decided to take back her feelings, refusing to show her true emotions. She threw away the gift and the message she had left him. From then on, she hated Jin and gossiped about her, believing Jin had taken her boyfriend. Jin feels guilty after learning the truth. She tells Huang she will show their classmates the truth that they aren't dating. Huang is surprised and asks why, but she refuses to tell him the truth, breaking his heart. She threatens that if he doesn't comply, she will post the video and reveal that he is lying and not actually a trainee. Huang feels hurt by her words because he genuinely liked her, and sadly she said these things out of spite. He grabs her hand and asks her to give him a chance, but she refuses, letting go and walking away while crying. When he gets home, he is still trying to process what happened, feeling that she is hiding something. He texts her, asking why she left him, assuming she likes John, but she refuses to reply. The next day, Jin goes to school, recalling the class president's words about hating her and gossiping about her. She feels conflicted because she likes Huang too, but feels guilty since the president's heart was broken because of her. Seeing Huang's messages makes her cry, unable to respond. John sees her sitting alone, notices she's upset and not herself, and decides to take her to a restaurant to cheer her up. She agrees because she wants a change of mood. There, he orders the food she likes to lift her spirits, gently coaxing her to eat despite her initial reluctance. He patiently feeds her, caring for her like a prince would, successfully encouraging her to eat and drink, and he feels happy that he managed to change her mood. He keeps gazing at her, captivated by how beautiful and cute she looks. Jin tries to tell him what happened between her and Huang, but she hesitates and wants to leave. John refuses to let her go until he is sure she's okay. He takes her hand firmly and leads her out of the restaurant to the park, where they used to play when they were kids. Our heroine is surprised and asks why he brought her there. John recalls their shared memories and realizes he made a promise to himself that he would never leave her alone while she's sad. She is moved by his words and thanks him for being in her life, the only one who has always supported her and paid attention to her. She slowly returns to her usual self. John then takes her to an ice cream shop and orders her favorite flavor. She happily eats and laughs, but notices that he hasn't eaten anything himself. She teases him, thinking he forced her to eat all the food in the restaurant. Nervously, John says he's on a diet, and she jokingly mocks him, asking if he thinks he's an idol. She continues talking about Huang, saying she feels guilty for hurting him, but John interrupts her, asking her not to bring up Huang while she's with him. Suddenly, Huang enters the shop by chance, and our heroes react, wishing they had brought $1 million script. The three of them have to walk together, but John feels jealous and stands between them to keep them apart. Then an important call comes, giving him a reason to leave them alone. Huang seizes the opportunity to talk to her, asking why she wanted to break up with him before their plan to make her social and popular could succeed. Jin, our heroine, refuses to tell him the truth and says she doesn't like lies. She wants to follow your advice and stay true to herself. At night, the academy posts the news that the trainee will soon be revealed as an idol and that he is a high school student. The students react when they read the news, and the next day everyone keeps talking about him. He thinks of Huang and feels proud that everyone now knows who he really is. Later, Jin arrives at school and sees the class president asking to talk to her. She tries to explain the truth, saying she is not in a relationship with Huang, but the president refuses to listen and says, "I don't want to know anything about you, you're not my friend," and walks away. Jin is upset by her words. When she returns to class, she goes to talk to the struggling student, wanting to tell him the truth, so he knows. Suddenly, someone posts on the app saying that Huang is a liar, that he isn't a trainee, and that he has been deceiving everyone for a while. All the students are shocked and don't believe him. Jin has to use the phone she found and opens the app to delete the post. But the class president sees her and complains. She follows Jin to the secret room and catches her deleting posts about Huang. She takes the phone and lectures her. Jin, scared, follows her and apologizes, saying, "I know I was wrong, but I didn't mean to invade anyone's privacy. I did it to understand what the students liked, so I could get closer to them because I've always been alone and had no friends." But the president remains unconvinced and keeps the phone. Our heroine is left confused, not knowing what to do. That night, she sits alone in the garden crying, worried that Huang will be upset because the president might use the phone to see his video and find out he isn't a trainee. At that moment, Huang decides to record a video revealing the truth so he can post it on the app and let the students know the real story. Meanwhile, we see John getting beaten at the academy. By now everyone knows the truth, and that the famous idol isn't Huang. The manager enters, and they find out he succeeded in the training. Tomorrow, they will announce his name, and everyone will know he is the idol. His classmates are happy, and go to congratulate him because he's the youngest among them. But John clearly doesn't look happy. The next day, Jin goes to school and finds all the students talking about John and that he is the idol at their school. She can't believe his reputation and waits to see if Huang knows, since he had been going to the academy every day. She starts connecting the dots and understands why he never wanted to eat much and always maintained his weight, why he was always talented at dance. He's the one who taught her. She goes to talk to him but finds the class president waiting for her. The president takes her aside to speak to her. Jin follows her and asks for her phone back, promising not to use it again. But the president refuses, saying she saw Huang's video and realized his voice is bad and that he can't sing, and that Jin must have been threatening him to get closer to him. She insists on posting the video to expose him and ruin their relationship. Jin reacts to her words and tries to convince her not to do it, but the president refuses. Our heroine uses her cleverness. She runs at the president, knocks her over, and retrieves her phone. She runs to meet Huang and gives it to him. However, she bumps into a student without noticing, and it turns out to be John. He thinks she likes him now that she knows he's an idol, but he notices she's worried about Huang even after learning the truth. This confirms that she likes Huang. He refuses to confess his own feelings even though he also likes her and tells her he's going to the theater before leaving. Jin is surprised by his behavior and runs to Huang, but when she arrives, she finds the class president with him. The president says to Huang that she knows everything and threatens to expose him if Jin doesn't return the phone she has. Jin struggles to explain the truth about the phone and the app. She cries and apologizes to him for hiding the truth, but Huang tells her he's not upset. He decides to post the video himself, and he does so, confessing the truth and apologizing to the students for lying to them. The video spreads everywhere, and everyone learns that he isn't actually a trainee. Jin cries and feels guilty for what happened. She uses her phone and tries to delete the video, but Huang stops her and tells her to leave it. He says it's the first time he feels he can be himself. He takes her hand, and they return to class. There, they find the students tearing his books and bullying him. They call him a liar and a cheat. Jin and the bullied student try to defend him, but the other students continue harassing him and even throw trash at him. Suddenly, John enters the classroom and stops everything. He asks Huang to come train with him, and Huang agrees. Later, the school announces that Huang's video received the most views and likes, making him the winner of the competition. Huang goes on stage to receive the prize. Lucky girl Jin takes the opportunity to give him the award because she was the only one who knew his truth. Despite everything, she treats him kindly. She's the only one who loved him for who he really is. Huang thanks her for teaching him to be brave and to confess the truth. He also apologizes again to his classmates, crying and asking for their forgiveness, wishing for a second chance so that they will accept him. The students are moved by his words, realizing he is sincere, and they decide to forgive him, accepting him as their friend. The class president talks to him and says she's not upset because he lied to her, but because she trusted Jin more, even though she'd been his friend since childhood. She cries and apologizes for threatening him, saying she acted out of her heart, but will continue to care for him. Jin watches from afar, happy to see that their relationship is restored. They are close friends again, just like before. She decides to fix her mistake too, and get rid of the phone so it won't cause her any more problems. She leaves it in the place she found it. At night, she goes to meet Huang, and when she sees him, she runs into his arms and hugs him, saying she's proud of him for being brave. Then she realizes what she's done and feels embarrassed. She sits down to talk to him, and Huang laughs at her reaction, thanking her because she was the reason he was encouraged to confess the truth. He lets her know that he wants them to stay together, but she tells him she doesn't want to be social anymore. She's content with just him and John. Finally, Huang decides to confess his true feelings. He tells her that this is the first time he's really been in a relationship, that he's genuinely impressed by her, and that he's loved her since the first time they spoke. Then he moves closer and kisses her. Jin reacts in disbelief, realizing she also loves him. They officially start dating for real this time, not just pretending. The next day, they go on a romantic date and take photos together to keep memories. They create beautiful moments with each other. When the new term starts, they walk to school holding hands, meeting their friends who realize they are truly a perfect match, the best couple of the year. Suddenly, John appears and they're happy to see him, knowing he's still famous and will continue acting in his new film. Jin also knows that John will remain her friend and will be there whenever she needs him. They all walk together like one big family. In the final scene, the bullied student finds the phone in the parking lot and picks it up, hinting that the story isn't completely over. And as I said, dear viewer, all you need to do now is make sure your notifications are turned on, because I'm preparing something big for the next period, full of school drama, love, and superpowers. Until then, I leave you in God's care, the one whose trust is never lost. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Check out more recaps you'll absolutely love right here.